Hello and welcome to Karl's Coaching. We're glad that you're here. This is going to be a fun podcast, I think. It's definitely going to be interesting. We have our son on line, JD, all the way from Taiwan. Can you hear him?
I hope everyone can hear me.
You wouldn't believe the setup we have here. There's a Bluetooth speaker and a phone involved and the microphone, of course, and our laptop. So hopefully all this works together and that everybody can hear us. But we're just going to have a conversation this morning with our son, which we like to do a lot. But this time it's going to be kind of special because we get to share it with you. And most of you that know JD love him. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody that doesn't, except maybe a teacher or two probably. Love him. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody that doesn't, except, maybe a teacher or two probably somewhere along the line. But for the most part, I think everybody likes JD, and this is going to be fun. So, what time is it right now? It's 6:30 a.m. in the United States of America. In Taiwan, it is... What time right now?
It is currently 8:30 p.m.
8:30 p.m. So
p.m. Yes.
14-hour time difference, and it really messes you up when you go to visit him. But anyway, so both kind of in the daylight here. It's not too late at night or too early in the morning. It's just about the only time that happens during the day, or I guess it happens twice, right? So we're up a little early. What's that?
Happened twice. I'm usually not up that early though.
Yeah. So Taiwan. Whenever I ask people, or I say, that you're overseas, or they ask about you, they say usually the most common thing people say. I say no, it's Taiwan, and they get a blank look on their face, like what is that? So maybe you could talk a little bit about Taiwan. I'm going to give you some fun facts here before you start, though.
All right.
In the People's Mainland, there's 1.3 billion people, and hopefully I'm not taking away all your ammunition here. But in the Republic of China, Taiwan, there's 23 million, and oddly enough, that relates pretty closely with your home state of Texas, which is 26.1 million. So very close to the same population as your home state of Texas, although Texas, everything is big, so in Texas it's 19 times, although Texas, everything is big, so in Texas it's 19 times as big, right? They one time they used to say I spent a week in Texas one day. It takes a full day to drive across it. I think Taiwan's much smaller.
Yeah.
So tell us.
About 8 hours to drive across Taiwan.
Yeah. So tell us, what is Taiwan? What it's like? What it is? Anything you want to tell us about Taiwan?
All right. I guess I'll give a little history. So you said China is the People's Republic of China. It's the People's Republic of China. I guess the de jure name for Taiwan is the Democratic Republic of China. It was founded in October 10th, 1911. Idea of who that guy is. He was doing his, authoritarian thing under the guise of communism in China, and Chiang Kai-shek, who is one of the founding fathers of Taiwan, broke off under KMT, which is a political party here. The more conservative political party broke off, and after basically they were kind of losing in the war, so they retreated to Taiwan and kind of took it over from the indigenous people. And have been doing that ever since, up until, oh man, I should have written down a lot more dates. I wasn't prepared to do a history lesson on Taiwan. But for a long period of time, up until relatively recently, I believe the 80s, late 80s, they were under martial law, so there was a lot of government control. Recently, it's gotten a lot more, I guess you could say, liberal or more democratic is probably the best word for it. That's open elections and everything here, so it's pretty free when it comes to that. I guess geographically, it's a little island located off of mainland China, in the Pacific Ocean, little south of the Koreas, a little south of Japan, north of the Philippines. It's culturally, it's Han Chinese, which is the main demographic group in China as well. So culturally, the Taiwanese people and Chinese people are very similar. The language is essentially dialects or certain words you use. If you use certain words that you use in Taiwan and China, they might laugh at you a little bit, but they'd understand what you're saying. Accents are a little different between the two, but culinarily, it's pretty similar. Like I said, the history else I could say about Taiwan.
What about their healthcare system?
It's interesting. Oh well, I mean, yeah. If you get in the government, it's the healthcare system is pretty amazing. They have a national healthcare system. It's funded through taxes. It's not 100% free, but it's about as close as you can get. Say, for instance, you go for a doctor's visit. It's usually around. I don't go to the doctor very often, but last time I went to the doctor is I think 150 NT New Taiwanese dollars, which is roughly equivalent to about four or five US dollars. The main I guess incident I had is over a year ago. Two Octobers ago, October or November, somewhere around there. I drive my motorcycle out here, and people are shooting off fireworks if you hear explosions in the background. It's spring festival right now, so people are getting excited. So I was driving home from work about 8 p.m. and a stray dog jumped out in the middle of the road, and I hit it and went over the handlebars and landed on my shoulder. When I got up, I was all juiced up with adrenaline, so I thought I was fine. I thought, wow, I came out of that pretty good. I just have a few scratches, you know. My clothes are a little ripped up and such, but I feel pretty alright. I tried to take my helmet off, and I realized my right arm only came about up to my chin. And felt fine until I got to my collarbone and realized that it was jetting out a little bit. It wasn't out of the skin, but it was a little pointier than normal. So that time I started to get a little woozy. Some Taiwanese people were passing by. realized I needed some help, so I asked him to call me an ambulance and went and did that whole thing. Ambulance ride I think cost me $50 US maybe. Ambulance ride. Let's see, it wasn't just an ambulance ride. So I got an ambulance ride to the hospital, maybe 5 or 10 ambulance ride. So I got an ambulance ride to the hospital, maybe 5 or 10 minutes away. They did X-rays and all the whole checking me out deal. That plus the ambulance ride I think was about 50 US. And they said, okay, well we can do this. They say you're going to need surgery because you broke your collarbone in 3. They say you're going to need surgery because you broke your collarbone in 3 places. I said, well that's swell. And I said, well, I want to do it closer to my home because this is the place I was working is a little far out of the way from my house. So they said, that's fine. You just, you can go home tonight. Sleep. They said, that's fine. You just, you can go home tonight. Sleep. Just be careful with it, and then check yourself into the other hospital. We'll give you these papers. We'll transfer you. So long story short, I got through all the surgeries, spent 3 days in the hospital. Then after that, and all the checkups, maybe 3 or 4. I went back every month or two, 3 or 4 months, and they did all the X-rays and all that stuff. It probably in total cost me a little over $100 US. So that was in my opinion, in my experience, has been a good thing for a lot of countries. But that was the first time I really realized like how key to living a more comfortable and I don't know, just happy life it is. Because I know for a fact if I would have just taken an ambulance ride in the U.S., hundreds of dollars in the U.S. just to sit in the back of a vehicle and have some guys make sure you don't die or try to keep from dying.
For sure.
So that was when I really was like, wow, all right, this is crazy. This is great. This is really great, and I really don't mind paying a few. As a foreigner, it's a little different because my tax rate is pretty low. But even if they asked me to pay an extra 4 or 5% in taxes, I think I'd do it just for that.
And so those are the two.
It probably saved me thousands of dollars.
Those are probably the two, things that people protest about it. That it would be, your taxes would be way higher, or there'll be long waiting lines. Did you experience anything with waiting to get surgery or anything like that?
No, the whole taxes thing that people don't factor in. The real issue with it is people think, oh well, I got to pay more taxes, and taxes are a real dirty word in the U.S. Everyone says taxation is theft, but they forget that we have a thing called social contract. Where things for you, and so in turn you give them a little money, give them a little bit of your earnings. And, we could argue about how the government spends that. I think in a lot of ways they're very wasteful, but
Right.
People are missing that point. They also another big point they missed about the whole my taxes are going to go up is you don't need to pay premiums or co-pays anymore. You don't have to pay an insurance payment every month. All that goes away.
Right.
So in the end, in most nationalized healthcare systems, you're going to end up saving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and then the government in the end will end up saving a lot of money due to bureaucracy and things like that. You can streamline a lot of that stuff. On the whole waiting line thing, that's a huge myth about all these things that they have, these nationalized healthcare systems that people in the U.S. that generally don't actually have any idea. They just hear these talking points from these pundits on TV. The reality of it is it's in most cases faster, because in Taiwan, for instance, I don't know in the U.S. you need to go to a doctor. You say my foot hurts, and you say, well, yeah, you need to see a foot specialist. I'll give you a referral. Whereas in Taiwan, I say I have a foot thing. I just go to the foot doctor. I go to whatever podiatrist, or whatever the term is for a foot doctor. So you can go straight to a specialist. I mean, I had to wait overnight in the hospital for the surgery, but was I probably had to wait a total of maybe 12 hours to get surgery, which is pretty quick. It wasn't a life-threatening surgery, obviously. And I mean, normal doctor visits, the lines are pretty short. They can be a little long in Taiwan because a lot of people go to the doctor a lot, just because they can. Which you could argue could be a little bit of an issue. People taking too many medicines and stuff for just having a minor cold. But that aside, I mean, I had to go in to get X-rays, like I said, every month or two, to make sure everything was healing all right. And I wouldn't say I waited more than 10 minutes at any time. They have a lot of doctors. I mean, there are a ton of doctors on staff, but there's enough, and they get you in and get you out. There are a ton of doctors on staff, but there's enough, and they get you in and get you out and take care of you as much as you need. If you have problems, you talk to them, but they just say, okay, here's the deal, you're looking good, so just come back in a month or whatever. So you pay your $2 for the X-ray or whatever. So
Yeah, and we,
that and the dentist.
you know, we do a plant-based diet, and we kind of have some feelings about people being healthy, and statistic here is that maybe 70-80% of our diseases are preventable by diet and lifestyle. And so that was something I was curious about too. Also, is do the people in Taiwan live kind of a healthier lifestyle? Does that contribute to the whole situation too? It's just probably be an opinion. Situation too. It's just probably be an opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think, again, I don't have necessarily a bunch of data to back this point up, but yeah, I would say in general, it's probably they do live healthier. They're more, because food is a big part of the culture here. Taiwan does have a lot of like sweet foods and fried foods, but because food is such a big part of the culture, they just seem more cognizant of what they're putting in their body. Totally backed up by science, kind of old Chinese medicine stuff. So there's like things they have even more interesting views of stuff. Like they'll tell you if you're sick, don't drink anything cold. You have to drink a lot of hot water. That's the only thing you should really be drinking if you're sick. Something to do with how they react in your body. I learned a mango is a hot food. And there's so like during the winter, you should eat mangoes because they keep your body warm. And then there's cold foods, which I couldn't give you an example of because it's not something I really studied too much. But yeah, I feel like they're more conscious of what people are more apt to eat. It seems like people are more apt to eat more vegetables out here. You also have a large, I guess not a large, but a decent contingency of very strict foodists out here. And if you're a strict foodist out here, they're completely vegetarian, completely, I should guess I should say vegan, vegetarian, completely, I should guess I should say vegan. I'm not sure about if they eat eggs, but I know they won't even eat onions or garlic sometimes, which I don't know if that's necessary. I mean, those things I would consider them to be healthy, but
Right.
And obviously very delicious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like they're more conscientious of what they put in their bodies on a regular basis. The levels of sugar, portion sizes are still good out here, but they're generally smaller unless you go to a style restaurant. So yeah, I think it's not necessarily more health conscious. I don't see a lot of people being like, oh, I'm on a diet or something, but they seem to watch what they eat more, and sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. People seems more cognizant of their weight they are and things like that. They're less shy about telling you, hey, like I've had numerous, especially grandmas and children just be like, "Oh, teacher, you're looking kind of fat recently." Or something. Like, "Oh, you're looking a little chubby, look a little chubbier this week." And I'm like, "Well, that's kind of rude, but a little chubbier this week." And I'm like, "Well, that's kind of rude, but they're like, oh no, I'm not trying to be mean. I was just saying, I noticed, that type of thing." So they just seem to be more open with that kind of stuff. Like I said, for better or for worse, I'm sure for some people that can be kind of can cause some problems. You want to get into like body president that is here, but
Right.
So in some ways, I wish they'd be a little nicer about it sometimes, but I think it does contribute to them being more conscious about overall health and diet.
Yeah. So, you're a teacher in Taiwan. You teach. The way I understand it, that someone speaks in Chinese and you speak in English. You're also learning Chinese or Mandarin. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Can you talk about what it's like to be a teacher?
Yeah.
Can you talk about what it's like to be a teacher? What you kind of do on a daily basis? How that plays out? I remember once you told me you like to clown around, and certainly that was part of your persona when you were here. But can you talk about being a teacher in Taiwan?
Yeah. I teach at out here. They have a thing called bushiban, cram schools. After school program. They have them for essentially everything. English is a really big one, but they have them for almost every subject. They have them for musical instruments, and also there's a few of them for like sports and recreational activities. I think for some of the parents it's kind of like a like an after school program for the kids, give them a little extra. Some of the parents really push the kids to go to English class all the time and study English really hard. Some of it is kind of like a daycare because the parents work late. So it fills a lot of different school all day, and then they have to come to school at night. Sometimes. Most of them come twice a week. So, yeah, I teach English at one of the cram schools. Pretty nice for me because I'm kind of a night owl. So class usually most days starts around 4 classes a day. They're usually about 2-hour classes. Yeah, like you were saying in the room, except for one-on-ones that I have 3 one-on-ones. Those are usually with older, like adult students. I have one with a little 10-year-old boy whose English is pretty good. So the classes will be a foreign teacher and a native Taiwanese teacher. And we usually try to keep it mostly English in class, but when we teach them new vocabulary or new grammar, a lot of times the native teacher will translate for them, either say it in Chinese or write the Chinese on the whiteboard for them, so they can write it down, and then they have that reference for the new vocabulary grammar. It's more relaxed, I think, than a normal school atmosphere, which gets back to the clowning around thing. Because the kids are there after they've gone to school for 8 or 9 hours, I do try to keep it pretty light and not get onto them too much as long as they're being they have somewhat of a modicum of respect, and try to let them get away with it. I let them get away with speaking a little Chinese in class or what have you. We play a lot of games in class, especially with the younger kids, just to try to get them to move around if they're a little crazy, as little children tend to be sometimes. I'm sure Mom has a few stories about her kids being a little too over energetic.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it happens. It's to be expected. I get a little over energetic sometimes, and I'm pushing 30 now, so. I guess, did that cover everything? I guess I'm learning Chinese. Chinese, I guess, you're right. Mandarin is the Mandarin is really the more specific, accurate term, I guess. Because what am I trying to say here? There's also what am I trying to say here? There's also Cantonese, Guanghua, which is what they speak in Hong Kong. That's also technically considered Chinese, so it is different dialects. But the Mandarin dialect is what most of the people in China speak in the national language of Taiwan. So yeah, I go back. Just go to class in the mornings, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. So it's a little intensive, but it's not too bad, and it's a little easier to. I studied for 2 semesters in the U.S. and it was a lot harder to study there because there's not as many people to practice. But if I learn a new word here, I can just down the street or go to a restaurant and practice and use the new grammar or vocabulary that I learned and practice it on some people and see if they can understand what I'm trying to say to them.
Yeah, my favorite story to tell is when I was going to visit you. I was trying to learn some Chinese, and I I tried to practice on the boy at the Chinese restaurant. He was probably 10 years old or so, and I said something in Chinese, and he kind of did a double take, and then he said, "I thought you were saying something in Chinese," and I was trying to, and he just kind of looked at me and said, "Well, keep practicing," and kind of humbled me. But it's a very difficult language. Is it called a musical language? Because there's tones, and the tones go up or down or stay flat, but you can have like 4 different tones for one sound.
Yeah. So it's in some ways, some people consider it kind of a musical language because it's definitely a tonal language. I guess technically 4 tones, and it can be very confusing sometimes if you're really trying to listen for the tone. But in English we have tones in some ways because we have inflections, like you inflect at the end of the sentence to make something a question. Where in Mandarin, the tones make the word, and then you put particles on things to make questions or exclamations or what have you. But you also have to speak with varying levels of tone and emphasis on certain words, even with the tones that are already there to express what you're trying to say. So it can be quite confusing, especially from people that come from English or a non-tonal language. It's a little, it can be disorientating or just baffling at times. It's pretty interesting. And you have to be careful because sometimes you're trying to say something and you put the wrong tone on it, and then people laugh at you because you said something really stupid. The word ma. You say ma, the first tone, like a flat tone, it would be mother, like mama as mom. But you say ma, which is that's horse. So you got to be careful so you don't call your mom a horse or vice versa. Yeah.
And some big trouble there. Hey, tell us.
Exactly. And
as you know, I came over and spent some time with you and got to experience some of the food a little bit while I was there. What's the main difference in like Chinese food we would eat in a restaurant and Taiwanese food it could be probably pretty diverse. Like the night market might be one kind of fast food, and Buddhist. If someone was going to visit, how would it be different than what you experienced, say, in a Chinese restaurant here?
Most of the Chinese food in a Chinese restaurant some of it is complete, just, I don't know the word, I don't know what exact word I want to use. It's just Americanized Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah. or it's just it's some of it's kind of a fabrication. Maybe they use some like light Chinese spices or something, but let's think of some dishes that you would have at a Chinese restaurant that you would also have here. Let's think of some dishes that you would have at a Chinese restaurant that you would also have here. Some of like the fried because most when people think of Chinese food in the U.S., they usually think of like General Tso's or like sesame chicken or sweet and sour, things like that.
Right.
Chicken or sweet and sour, things like that.
Right.
There are some things like sweet and sour is a thing here. It's the sauce is a little bit different, but it's in some ways similar. They do have sesame chicken in some places, but those things are not what people eat every day. They're not. They're like we call them 日炒. It's like a I don't know. I sometimes call them fast fry places. The Chinese is hot stir fry. So you might order those places. You sit down with the family and you order family meals. So you order a bunch of dishes and then everyone kind of picks off what they want. Guanbaoji is something that you'll find here, but it's a little different from the U.S. The spices are a little different. It's not exactly the same. But for the most part, like the actual street food and like what you eat for lunch is nothing similar to that. We eat a lot of rice, mostly white rice. If you go to a lot of restaurants, they do have fried rice. So fried rice is similar. Fried noodles.
Fried noodles were my favorite.
But fried noodles are good. Fried noodles are very good. The fried noodles here are they are similar to some of them, but there's kind of only like one type of fried noodles in America, just the round spaghetti kind of style noodles.
Yeah.
What I feel like I always see. And here they have flat noodles. They have mifen, which is like a real thin like rice noodle. A bunch of stuff. So there's just a lot more variations on a lot of those things. Also, there's one of like the staple foods in Taiwan, or the big draw food is nuro mian, which is beef noodle soup. It's just beef broth soup with like chunks of beef and flat noodles. Usually, it can be different types of noodles, I guess. There's a lot of soups and stuff. They do a lot of I guess is the best.
Okay.
Right. Like
I think I had that for breakfast one time. Yeah.
Yeah, they serve it for breakfast sometimes here, but you can also get like dinner style ones that have meat or tofu or egg or whatever in it. But more like a salty one. America doesn't really have Taiwanese or quote unquote Chinese breakfast food either. For breakfast and stuff, they have a lot of. We call it a pancake because there's not really a great translation for it, but it's like they have we call it dumping, which is egg pancake, egg pancake. But it's not a fluffy pancake like the U.S. It's a thin, more like a crepe kind of thing. It's usually salty and pretty crispy. Sometimes they'll fry one, fry it on a flat top, and then put an egg or some vegetables inside and roll it up and then cut it up and use that. There's just a lot of diversity, I think, that gets lost when you get into the American Chinese food, which is basically just fried chicken or stir fried beef.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of things about the food.
That's like a simplified version.
But I noticed a couple of things about the food. First of all, like there was just a lot of unusual things in the food, like especially mushrooms and different kinds of mushrooms, and the other thing I like, especially mushrooms and different kinds of mushrooms, and the other thing I noticed was it seemed everything was more chewy, where we tend to like crispy and everything was kind of chewy. Is that right, or is that?
You get a in some a lot of various vegetables. They like to do a lot of different vegetables. I think in Taiwan was the first time I ate eggplant. I know that exists in the U.S., but they prepare a lot of the vegetables really good out here. So I started trying a lot of stuff. I didn't like mushrooms when I lived in the U.S. because they're all slimy, like portobello on fungus, and lots of different greens, like Hong Pie, which is what is the name of that? I forget the English for that, but there's a lot of green vegetables that you can eat. Water spinach is what I was thinking of. Water spinach and a lot of different greens that most of them and a lot of different greens that most of them are grown pretty locally, so they're fresh and they're really good. They throw a lot of garlic and stuff in them, stir fry them up. So yeah, there's a more broad range of vegetables. I feel like here than the U.S. is a lot of carrots and potatoes, which I love. I love a lot of carrots and potatoes, which I love. Potatoes are one of my favorite vegetables, but it's nice to have a little more variety.
Right.
Talking to the chewiness thing you're talking about, they love that. They call it Q or QQ here. Q here. It's that there's no word for it in English. It's like that chewy that you're talking about, kind of a chewy, sticky, slimy texture. It's popular in like candy out here, and there's a lot of like cooked vegetables or some like bean-based stuff. Like they have what is it called? Sohua, which is like a bean curd.
I think so, once, yeah.
Yeah, bubble tea or pearl tea, pearl milk. A lot of people get pearl milk tea. They have the little bubbles in it that are that Q, we call it Q. It's sticky, slimy, spongy texture. Just a very strange. And another weird food thing that a lot of people get out here or do out here that you both of you won't be a fan of, but they do a lot of like weird, strange stuff, like
Stinky tofu.
A little, not necessarily stinky tofu. You might be a fan. Not necessarily stinky tofu. You might be a fan of, not because of the smell or the taste, but tofu is okay for you. But they do a lot of strange like animal parts out here too. Like I ate a lot of chicken hearts out here, which are delicious. They do da chang mian, which is pig. They do da chang mian, which is pig intestine soup, which I think is also delicious.
Like chitlins, right?
Like entrails type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, chitlins, kind of. Yeah, some of it is similar to like a southern
soul food.
Style.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a southern
soul food.
Style.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also have chicken feet. Chicken feet's a real interesting one that a lot of people are not brave enough to try. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting cuisine out here. Part of that is because a lot of the people come from one kind of specific area of China when they came over. Like I said at the beginning, in like 1911. But you also get random spots of different people from different regions in China. So there's a lot of culinary diversity. A lot of them are pretty low on population now, but Taiwan's they're getting in a little late now because a lot of the people have died off, but they're starting to recognize the native cultures more, so there's a lot of native foods here too. So you go up in the mountains or stuff, you'll go into native villages and they'll have similar to like herbs and spices that they kind of in their own flavors that they throw into it. So
yeah,
it's pretty diverse here for being a tiny small island
right
in the middle of the Pacific, populated by like you said, about 24 million people.
Right. So I was wondering about, believe it or not, I know that you're real comfortable there, and as your parents, we're glad about that. But is there one thing you miss? What's one thing you think about in the U.S.?
Your mother.
Besides your mother, one thing that you really miss?
Yeah, of course, my mother is the number one.
Yeah.
it would honestly be related to that if I had to pick one. One thing I miss is it would probably be some of the people. Some of the people. Yeah, I mean that's probably what it is. There's really not. I like to criticize the U.S. a lot, so people think, sometimes people get on to me about, oh, you don't appreciate that you're, from the U.S. You don't appreciate that you're, from the U.S. and stuff. But I really do. I probably wouldn't want to be born in any other country than the U.S. for as many faults and things that anger me to no end about the U.S. But yeah, it's a great country to be born in, especially. It's a great country to be born in, especially as a white man, which is even better for me. But I think people. I have a lot of friends and family that I miss from back home. From back home. Other than that, when I first came, I missed being able to speak English everywhere for a little bit.
Mm.
But the more I've learned Chinese, the easier it's gotten to just talk to people in the native language here. And honestly, a lot of people here, they have pretty good English.
Right.
So we can. Sometimes I'll get into conversation with people and we'll be switching back from Chinese to English when I don't understand or they don't understand what I'm trying to say. So that part has gotten a little better. I don't miss driving a car. I don't miss snow.
Right.
I don't miss. I guess I never really had to pay for healthcare that much. I got out before I really had to start doing that. But if I would have had to do that, I'm sure I wouldn't miss that. Yeah, I don't know. I miss, friends and family back home. That's about it.
Good. We're happy about that. Next time maybe we'll talk a little bit more about politics and religion and millennials and some things like that. I'd really like to get your input a little bit privately. And also a big thing for you is race relations and civil rights and things like that. And love to talk about that. I think sometimes you're my go-to expert on some of those things, so that'd be fun to talk about. Just about out of time. Anybody you want to say hi to or shout out to? I guess that's the right word.
Yeah, I feel like the list is too long. I guess I don't know. The list is too long. I guess I don't know. Everybody in the U.S. I guess everyone I know back home. I say hi to. Like we were talking about at the very beginning, the time difference makes it pretty hard to stay in contact with. Pretty hard to stay in contact with some people, and we'll go in and out. Sometimes there's a few people I'll stay in contact with, and I know even with y'all, it's sometimes a little difficult to get back to you, or for you to get a hold of me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to say hi to everyone. I love you and miss you guys, and if you get a chance, come out and visit me. I'll take care of you while you're out here. If you can pay for the plane ticket, I can pretty much take care of everything else for you. I got a nice warm couch you can.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to in May visiting you and seeing some of the. Last time I was kind of in your village is Zhongli. Zhongli, is that right? Is that close enough?
Yeah, Zhongli.
Yeah, and
that's close enough. You get it better than a lot of foreigners out here.
So we spent time in that village, considered kind of a village, but then also in a bigger city of Taipei a little bit, and saw a few sites. But this time we're going to go out to the more remote areas. Is that right? Some of the sightseeing areas.
I mean, my town. I technically actually live in Pingzhen now, which is right next to Zhongli. Zhongli and Pingzhen and all these places are all districts of a large town. They kind of did this thing not too long ago where they shifted a lot of the, basically what were little, like you were saying, little villages or little towns. So I technically live in a district of Taoyuan City.
Yeah.
But yeah, when people ask, I just say I live in Zhongli because that's usually what people know. But yeah, we're gonna visit, I guess we'll visit Taipei for about a day or so, which is the capital, big city. There's 11 or 12 million people up there, I think, which is almost half the population of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we're gonna head down southeast coast. Go to Hualien, which is a big tourist place, kind of. They got a big national park down there. It's a pretty nice spot. And then we're gonna go to Taidong, which is another town on the coast. Beautiful, got a lot of beautiful beaches and mountains. So Taidong is not super small, but it's not top 5 biggest cities. It's not top 5 biggest cities. I don't think. So, once you get outside of maybe top 3 big cities, most of them are not so big. Still, I don't know. It's different because we don't come from a very big place. Y'all live in a small place. I probably have more people in my. Y'all live in a small place. I probably have more people in my neighborhood than you do in your whole town.
Right. Yeah, it's exciting. We're looking forward to it. Yeah, we're looking forward to being there and seeing you in person again. And don't have any more daughters to marry off, so you can't come back for that. So we got to go there now. We'll be celebrating our 30th, be close to our 30th anniversary. So we're just going to count that as close enough and have some good times. Yeah, but hopefully next time we're supposed to talk about, but I lately have just kind of got used to pushing the envelope a little bit. Since I went vegan, everything's kind of a little kind of edgy.
Crazy hippies.
Yeah, we're just.
That's all right. That's just my wheelhouse. I love that stuff. I love arguing, not discussion about that stuff. I think it's fun.
Yeah. Well, it's been good talking to you, and for everybody out there, we're glad that you joined in on our family conversation here, and just encourage you to go out to Karl's Coaching. You can find everything from Karl's Coaching. It's Karl with a K, of course, and Karl's Coaching. You can find my Twitter there, and also the blogs and the podcasts are all in the same place. Now we have the podcasts up on YouTube, but you can kind of get to all that from karlscoaching.com and just poke around there a little bit and you'll probably find what you want. But we're glad that you stopped in today. If we can ever do anything to help you, don't hesitate to send me an email. Let me know how I could help. All my coaching stuff is free still, and we just want to be a part of. Number one, we want to be a part of the conversations that people are having in the United States, to try to have some decent conversations about things instead of just shouting each other down. But we also want to help people along in their journey and help them close the gaps in their lives, whether that's food or spiritual or internal, whatever the need you have. We'd like to help you along. We'd like to be a part of your journey. We wish you well on your journey, as we tend to strive to get better. We strive to learn and grow, and just keep in contact with us. Follow us on any of the things that we have, and we'll see you soon. From Karl and Laura and Winston the Wonder Dog, and also JD today, all the way from Taiwan. We wish you well. God bless you. Thank you.